Don't you hate it when you have to wake up very early in the morning just to get ready for school? Why can't this process be much more enjoyable than it really is? And the fact that you didn't have enough sleep throughout the night before already settles your mood for the rest of the day. So think about it. How would this ultimately affect your performance in class if you don't have enough sleep? The LA Times recorded that some 80% of American kids from grades 6 to 12 have been suffering loss of sleep throughout the school year. This early sign of sleep deprivation ultimately leads to unavoidable health and academic consequences as students will struggle for years. And for this reason, I want to open up a discussion and talk to you why it's important for schools to reschedule a later time for students. First, I'm going to talk about the problems that connects sleep deprivation in students. Then I'm going to explain to you why students have been experiencing sleep deprivation. Excuse me. And finally, at the end, I will propose a solution to hopefully end this problem. So some health problems that have been impact the students' lives include when they suffer sleep deprivation. They include increase in moodiness, increase in depression, and those are the mental health issues that students suffer when they lack sleep. And besides mental health, there's also physical health consequences that students face, which is gaining in weight and weakening in the immune system. So those are the health consequences that students face as a result of sleep deprivation. With academic performance, students will will suffer from lower grades, lower attendance grades, lower attendance, which means is a higher tardiness and higher absences. Also, students will have a harder time turning in homework or don't do the homework at all. They will lose their motivation. And furthermore, sleep deprivation usually leads to students usually lower the graduation rates of students. So those are the problems that connects that shows the connection between students and sleep deprivation, and the causes to these problems depends on students' biology, which means students' age and body, and how they respond to to their um, their response to the puberty or whatnot, and also the school system. So with their biology, the body, students when hitting their puberty, when in middle school or high school, students their melatonin shift, their melatonin will shift, and making the students have trouble, harder time to sleep, and and that's one part. And another part, when when they have a hard time with sleeping, um, the next morning they will feel tired and very uh, so they have to depend on substances such as caffeine, and this substance is helpful in the morning, but at the end of the day, it's not very helpful at all because it actually makes the students actually stays up more and you know change their schedule of sleep schedule, and that is the biology causes of that cause the problems. And with the school system, there have been some resistance that adults and administration impose on students. They deny and they reject students' pro- propose of having later times. They reject those ideas because some students also have extracurricular activities that that also impact the school schedule. And there's also the bus scheduling system that have already imposed on the school. So it's harder to reschedule the system, and it will be messy, and you know, so that is one that is another cause to students suffer of sleep deprivation. And so now after I talk about the problems and the causes, I want to move on to the solutions. So some of the excuse me. So some of the solutions that can be done is by since we live in Cali, California, or any state, we should begin with the state government and inform or persuade the state government to impose a later school time for all public schools or private schools or whatever schools, just impose a later time, and advise the CDC to discuss the importance of sleep. So you know, um, so then with the help of the CDC, maybe it will change the opinions of schools somehow. So that's one the solution. And another solution can be found within the school themselves. Um, or actually the students themselves. So in order for students to overcome this challenge of sleep deprivation, students should be disciplined themselves and have a better sleep time schedule. And you know, um, even on weekends, they should wake up at the same time like the weekdays. You know, have the same schedule, and just remain. You know, they have to be consistent with their schedule to not mess it up and whatnot. And also, before going to sleep, it is important to turn off the technology because technology tends to wake them up because it wakes me up. You know, it's hard. So those are solutions that I found to be um, to be work for. Is work that works. And yeah, so I just discussed why it is important for school to reschedule a later time for students, and I did this by connecting the problems by talking about the problems that connect students with sleep deprivation, and discuss to you why students have been experiencing sleep deprivation, and I also propose some solutions to hopefully help our students overcome this problem. And just remember, if you were in their shoes, how will this affect your performance in class? Yeah, thank you.